Welcome to this eLearn Security video lesson on how to collect and analyze Skype artifacts. In this video, we'll investigate a case which involves Skype, an application that is used for communication, regardless of the type of communication which can occur over PC or phone. As you might come across a case in the future that requires you to investigate Skype, I wanted to introduce you to a very useful tool called Skypearius. Skypearius is a very easy tool to use, and we can use it to investigate a case that has Skype evidence in it. First, if you are using Skypearius in an investigation on a live system, you can press this button, Detect Databases, and it will automatically try to detect if there is any Skype profile on this machine. Since my machine does not have a Skype profile, it won't be here, but we have a case that we need to investigate that involves Skype. Let's first add this case to FTK. As you may know, to add a case, we'll click on this icon, select Image File, and click the next button. Then we'll browse to the location of the file, select it, and click Open, and lastly, the Finish button. Now we have an NTFS file system. This is our Windows machine that we took a forensic image for. Let's now go to Users, and we'll go to Hunter, which is the user we suspect and want to investigate. Let's go to this user's profile by selecting Hunter, and now we'll select Application Data because that is where the information is stored, like conversations and other details. We'll now go to Roaming, and now we see Skype. The database that Skype uses to store this evidence is actually this one, and these are the evidences. If you don't know, you can right-click the Skype folder, select Export Files, and where you want to export them to. Now, we are exporting all the evidences that are related to Skype. Let's go back to Skypearius. Now, suppose we don't know which database we actually want to investigate, or which one is of our interest. So, let's select Import from Folder. Let's find our folder, click on Recover, select Skype, and click the Select Folder button. Skypearius automatically imported all the database files that it managed to see. Now, if we click on them and look over to the left, it is not recognizing it as a Skype database. What we can do is remove this database from the list by clicking the Remove button at the bottom. This allows us to clear things that we don't need. Like with this selection here, it's also not related to Skype, so Skypearius was not able to understand it. If we double-click it, it does not show anything because it has not been identified as a database. So, we can go ahead and clear this one too, and any others that are not recognized. Now this particular selection has details that tell us it was last modified on June 21st, 2016, which could be the last time there was a conversation. It was between this user, Hunter HPT, which is this Skype ID, and another person called Linux, RUL3Z. There are 46 messages, and as mentioned a bit earlier, this was the date that they last had a conversation. So, now if we double-click on it, we can see 45 messages. When it was created, the first message date and time, the last message date and time, the type is single, which means the conversation was only between two people, Linux rules, and Hunter HPT. There was another message, which shows that they were testing the Echo service, where Skype allows you to test your mic. If we double-click on their chat, we can see all of the messages between them. In here on the right, you can see the option to show messages from a particular user, allowing you to filter the messages based off of a sender. There are more useful features to explore. Here, you can search for a keyword in the Find Message with Text field. We can even export messages to a file. Let's go ahead and do that and export these messages. If you have a password, you can add it here. If you don't, there will be an error as it will try to log into Skype. However, it won't. I'll just go ahead and click Cancel. The export shows us the messages between these two users, Hunter HPT and Linux rules. It also shows us where the database is from and the total number of messages. We also see when the first message was, what they were talking about, as well as the duration, which is here on the right. If we click on the information, it provides us even more details. We can see that Hunter HPT is from Amman, Jordan. The birth date is here. We have the database tables here, and we can even expand and check them out if we wanted. If we click on the SQL window, we can write a query here. Skyperius is a great tool to investigate a case that involves Skype. As we saw earlier, this tool allows you to know what country and city the user is communicating from, the number of messages, how many contacts were in the conversation, how many messages were sent, how many messages were received, and the date and time of the first and last message. Skyperius is a free, open source tool and is easy to install. I highly recommend that you use it. And this concludes our video lesson on how to collect and analyze Skype artifacts. Thanks for joining us.